Michael, thank you for organizing this and getting this interview set up. It's so awesome. And what we're doing is just allowing facilitators like yourself to share your story and to share your experience with PSYCH-K. So the first question that we want to start with is, how did PSYCH-K find you, or how did you find PSYCH-K? How'd that all work?
Well, I think PSYCH-K is how I found Bruce Lipton. You know, it's funny, most everybody, especially people who seek me out that I've never really come across, it's like, hey, I read Bruce's book, or I saw Bruce's video, and I heard about PSYCH-K. So actually for me, it was the opposite. And it was, I think it was 2016. I was working with a legacy business here in town, and they hired me to turn around a division. I did that, and then they started saying, hey, well, won't we give you something else and something else? And pretty soon I was managing quite a few other areas, and I took the opportunity. I knew, I think inherently, I didn't want, now I have the language, but then I didn't want another how-to system or a sales coach or read another self-help book. I wanted deeper transformation. And so I had found you actually through a recommendation here in town. And you and I worked together for, I think, about 6 months before I actually took a class. And the beautiful thing that was just amazing to me was, I don't think you and I ever worked on the business, right? That the business was an effect, and you and I worked on some deeper things within me. But the effect was every division. This company was around 36 years old, and they were very successful in one aspect of their business, but they had started 7 other divisions. And for the first time in company history, every division was profitable, was making money, making more money than it was costing. And every salesperson on staff was hitting or exceeding their sales goals. And I just, you can't argue with results like that. So that was my introduction sort of to PSYCH-K.
Beautiful, right. And then you dropped into the workshops. So this is awesome. Yeah. So with your experience, both that personal experience as well as taking the workshops, and now you work with others, when someone wants to know what is PSYCH-K, how do you explain PSYCH-K?
The definition of alchemy is transforming a common metal into gold. So I define PSYCH-K as a tool we use to transform a common problematic life into a bright, shining, magical life.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. Yes, we are alchemists, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So you shared about the impact for yourself through the sessions that we did. Is there any other transformation that either you experienced since then, or someone else that you've worked with that you'd like to share?
For me, working with people individually and the subtleness that happens, even beyond the amazing transformations that I see in a session, and then within a week or two after, if I work with someone and we work through PSYCH-K, what happens is you start to see a change in their language, the way they speak. You start to a change in their perception. When you start asking, what do you want instead? It really brings this awareness into their lives. And then, being that open and curious reminder, it just cultivates this gratefulness and connectedness. So I really love, the mind, body, spirit connection. And I've had people sort of use any one of those as a doorway. They might start with something physical, or they might start with, the thoughts in the head, or it doesn't really matter. It's just, it has a holistic sort of appeal. And I actually reached out I was looking through some of my client testimonials, and I saw a lot of really big shifts, but they're shifts that were sort of in a very, I call it subtle. They make a huge impact on somebody's life, but they're sort of a little more hard to quantify in the result of it. But I had a particular client, and she was happy for me to share this. I won't share her name, but young lady found me. She was in her final trimester of her pregnancy, first baby. She was 20 years old, and she had developed a rash. And she went to the doctor, and the doctor gave her some cortisone, I think, cream, and she started using that. The rash continued to get worse. She goes back to the doctor, and at this point, it's starting to affect her sleep. And it was her first baby. She's, living a 20-year-old life and working, and so now the itching and burning starts to become a stressor, right? And so she went back to the doctor. The doctor referred her to a dermatologist. And so the dermatologist gave her an oral steroid and something else. And then at that point, she started to, that's when she sort of like went, I don't really want to take this. I don't want to have this impact on my baby. So she found me, and the dermatologist had, said this was a thing called PUPS, PUPPS, and it's an acronym for something, and I don't know what it is. And that's what's beautiful about this. I couldn't have anything to do with this process because I can't even pronounce the word. So we did one session, and I used a messages protocol with her. We got a message, and we transformed that belief. And the next morning, it's about 4:00 in the afternoon. The next morning, I got a text, and she said, I slept like a baby through the night. And she said the itching is completely gone. And then 3 days later, she texted me. She said the rash is like, there's no evidence of it.
Wow.
And yeah, I can't do that, right? So I don't have the experience or the training to do. So I literally, that's kind of my wow moment, to watch her plug into that ability that she has to heal herself and get those kind of results that quick and that easy without side effects or even affecting the baby.
What an amazing story. Congrats. Isn't that, and it was one session, people often. So I love, the messages protocol is something that we teach in a couple of our workshops. And, the underneath that, like you said, you couldn't even pronounce what the issue was. So what's beautiful is she has a name, but she doesn't know what the cause is. And pretty much nobody does. It's probably one of those mysteries. And we don't have to know. But the part that we work with, the combination that we work with, the subconscious has the knowledge of what that hook was. And that's what the messages does, is it guides you into what needs to be shifted by the subconscious to a different belief. Right. And it's just amazing because neither of us have to have that conscious awareness, but the part of you that's powerful, which is the subconscious, identifies it. And it's just spectacular. Yeah. And look at the miracle it created. I know. Think of all the people that spend tons of time and itchy days and steroids and, and which serve a purpose. We support the medical industry, but it's beautiful when you can bring in the inner belief side of this. Absolutely. And get that kind of shift. Beautiful. So as you have worked with PSYCH-K, maybe, before working with me, before taking the workshop, or someone else has asked, are there any, or were there any doubts? Have you heard, like, I don't know if I should do the workshop, or I don't know if this would work? What are some doubts that you've heard or experienced?
I can't say that I had any doubts about any of the workshops I've taken. I've been spoiled with the best damn teacher money can buy. You know, I have no issue reaching my back pocket, and this is the return on investment is an unbelievable. You know, my advice is, and it's sad, but it really, it's true. At the end of our life, most people don't regret what they did. They actually regret what they didn't do.
Exactly.
So I'd say if you're thinking about taking the class, take the class.
Yeah, beautiful. Just do it. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it's amazing because people are like, well, so there's all these other workshops. Do I have to take, you know, everything that PSYCH-K offers to use this with partners? No. You come to the first 3-day workshop and boom, that night after the workshop, or in some cases, even during the workshop, you can work with other people outside of that because you're learning the foundational information. You learn the ways to work with with other people. You learn how to work with yourself. So at the end of those 3 days, you have it in your package. You have it in your hand to go help other people. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting. All right. So is there anything that you have personally found challenging about PSYCH-K?
Well, you know, try this. Find a little boy. Any little boy will do. It doesn't matter. And little boys work better than little girls. And just give that little boy a pair of drumsticks and just back up and watch. Everything becomes a drum, right? His body, your body, the wall, the floor. Well, that's me, right? You literally empowered the little fixer in me, right? Like I was just like, ah. I think it was Louise Hay. She had to make a rule, right, to spare her friends and family from her healing prowess. When I come out of that workshop, like I'm on fire. I'm like, what, you know, had a client tell me one time in a session, she goes, "Why doesn't everybody know about this?" And I'm like, I don't know. They should.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, yeah. It's we often want to yell it from the tops of the world, right?
Yeah.
Climb up and yell it from the top of the world. And what I've found, and I know you found along the way, is that it's like an invitation. We can invite people to create change in their life, but sometimes they like their chaos. They want to stay within it, and we have to be compassionate and honor that. Absolutely. And just leave little seeds along the way that maybe they can choose to pick up. So yeah, I love that. Back off. I used to call it vomiting on people. Yeah, you know, because verbal vomiting. Yeah, because it's like, you gotta do this.
I had the balance for it.
Exactly. Anything that goes back to, it can be, you know, whatever your path in, whether it's spiritual, emotional, physical, mental, path in, whatever you need, we can.
I always say I'm gonna drag you kicking and screaming to heaven. Right?
Have a happy life. Yeah, exactly. All right. Is there anything else in general that you'd like to share?
You know, I love your line. If you're experiencing anything but joy in your life, you know, we tend to kind of think in these terms of, let me get rid of these problems. Let me get the rock out of my shoe, and that is probably a first step. But literally, this is, if once you kind of make that shift to go, you get into that creative center, like, what do I really want in my life? And this tool, you know, is there's so much more to it than just fixing problems.
Absolutely.
And, you know, PSYCH-K, it's simple, it's a powerful process, and it's just like, go back to Bruce, you know, it's the fastest, easiest way to change things on the planet.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, it's, for some people, they're so focused on the pebble, they don't realize that they have a choice to create the life they want. Right. And we honor, you know, you start wherever you are. So it's about self-limiting beliefs and sabotaging yourself or fears. Great. Let's work together. If it's, or come to a workshop and you'll learn how to focus with it. Or if it's about designing your life, let's work with that. Right. Or it's about building your intuition. I think every transformation we do gives us a closer connection to our intuition, to, you know, who we are, our essence, who we truly are. Absolutely. And then, you know, as I share in the workshops, the ultimate of all of this is to understand our interconnectedness, to understand our oneness of who we truly are. Mm-hmm. And you represent that, and I'm proud to see everything that you've done and honor your facilitation with others, and excited that you're sharing it so far and wide.
No, it's been a beautiful experience.
Yeah, good. Now you do private sessions, you mentioned that. So how could somebody connect with you or find you?
I do. In the East, there's this reverent way to greet someone. It's this namaste, which translates to the light in me sees and honors the light in you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't have a special handshake, but I always say the darkness in me sees and honors the darkness in you. I call it mimiste. And then we use PSYCH-K to sneak in the light. You can find me on the PSYCH-K website, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. And I have a business page called MEM Evolver.
MEM, like Mary, Edward Mary.
Like Michael Edward Mulkey. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, Michael. And we'll see you somewhere soon.
Absolutely, Robin. Thank you so much.